Shalom, Yisrael. I want to ask you all a quick question. What ancestral spirit do you possess? Are you one from the rebellious house of Israel? Or are you one of those who seek to do the will of our Father? Unfortunately, the majority of us are from the rebellious group. We don't want to do anything that we are commanded to do. We don't want to raise our children. We don't want to obey our elders. We don't want to keep the commandments. We don't want to have any respect or love for one another. We actually identify more with our enemies than we do with our own people. A lot of us don't even know what the scripture means when it says, "Come out of her, my people," or "Come out from among them and be ye separate." We actually think that term refers to us. From our actions, that's what I can believe. We have come out from among the Israelites and we blend and dwell in with the other nations to the point where you can't tell the difference. You can't tell who's who. We look like them and we act like them. And the minute someone tries to present to you the ways of our forefathers, we become ostracized from our very own families, saying that we are taking this religious thing too far. No, this ain't about religion, y'all. This is about holding up a standard of holiness that is required by the Most High. If you can't understand why your life is going a certain way, I think it's time that you take an inventory of the deeds done in your body. That's right. It's time to take an inventory. Look no further than the mirror to see where your problems lie. Most of our problems are a direct result of our rebellion against the Most High. Some of us can't take truth from anybody. You know, I hear a lot of Christians who, because something is coming out of the mouth of Louis Farrakhan, we completely reject the whole message. Now, we may not all have the same understanding and belief about who the Most High is, but this man speaks a whole lot of truth. As a matter of fact, he knows something that you Christians don't. He knows that we are the biblical children of Israel. Now, you Christians, you think that Charlton Heston is a better reflection of what Moses looked like. Well, no, Moses most likely looked like your granddaddy. And that's the truth. Now, if we don't get out of this sleep state that we're in, we're going to be very shocked right along with the rest of the world when we see things unfold that the scripture has very clearly warned us about. There are some things that are going to happen this year that are going to take a lot of people by surprise. The more I talk with people, whether it's family, friends, community members, neighbors, the more I talk with people, the more in the dark I see that many of us are. And it's not that it's our faults completely, because the media has a way of suppressing things that need to be known by the masses. But where I do put the blame is when we don't even seek the knowledge. Also, when it's presented to us by someone who knows, we reject it. And you know what the scripture says about that? It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." So my question again is, what ancestral spirit do you possess? Or should I say that possesses you? Not like a demon possession. That's not what I'm talking about. What ancestral spirit can you feel in you? Are you one of those rebellious? Or are you one of those that have that warrior mentality? Are you one of those who have the spirit of, or should I say, have the word of wisdom on your tongue? Are you one of those that are going to edify the body of the Most High? Are you one of those who are going to contribute to the uplifting of our people? You know, the scripture commands all of us to cry aloud and spare not, and to lift up our voices like trumpets in Zion, and to show my people their transgressions. We are supposed to point out the transgressions of our people. But many of us are too afraid to open our lips and say anything. We see our children out here misbehaving. We kind of want to put the blame on everybody else but ourselves. You know, sometimes I get a little frustrated when you come to people with the truth and their only response is, you can't blame this one or you can't blame that one. It's not their fault. As it relates to our children, I hear a lot of adults saying this. And basically, I kind of feel like they're making excuses because of their own failures and shortcomings. We can't do that at a certain point or a certain age. Our children have to be held responsible for their actions. You know, in the Bible, there was Brother Eli who had 2 sons who were just living lawless and reckless in the house of the Most High. And as a result of that, judgment came upon these 2 young men. They died in their sins. And Eli, when he heard the news of his son's death, you know what happened to him? This brother fell backwards and broke his neck, and he died too. Now the message was that because he failed to train his children in the way that they should go, they grew up and they were living lawless and reckless. Judgment came on them and him. So, in a nutshell, we as people have got to start opening up our mouths, teaching our children, teaching our people who don't know. We have to cry aloud and spare not. We have to stop making these excuses. Okay? The excuses are not going to help us when certain things begin to unfold. Being unaware of something is not going to protect you either. You better make yourself aware. Get your head out of the TV and learn what's going on around you. Learn what's about to unfold. This is going to be a rough year, people. Okay, we're so busy looking at what's happening to other people abroad, thinking that it's never going to visit the US of A. Rough times are coming here too, people. As a matter of fact, for some, they've already started. Unfortunately, the media is trying to paint you a different picture, trying to make it seem as though it's not as bad. But we're going to see it's not going to be much that can be done after a while, because it's going to visit a lot of people's door who didn't even know that this stuff was happening. A lot of people don't know about the possible crash of the dollar. Everyone is going to be affected by that. A lot of people say that folk like me are fear-mongering, trying to provoke fear in people. That is some stupid thinking to me. That is very ignorant thinking to say that someone is a fearmonger because they're telling you the truth about what's coming. Don't you know that the scripture says, like a snare, that this destruction is going to come upon this earth? All of this stuff is going to happen when people least expect it. Now the reason is because the signs are there. The scripture even said the signs are going to be there. But it also said that a lot of people were going to be asleep. And it says it's high time to awake out of your sleep. So my appeal to my people today is to wake your butts up out of this sleep and start taking life a lot more serious, not a little more. Get a grip on these reckless children so we can stop flipping on the news, seeing that a bunch of angry teenagers mobbing in front of a mall in Chicago, busting people's car windows out. We don't need to hear that kind of stuff, especially in this racially charged environment that we're living in. Black people, Hebrew people, whatever you want to call them, get your children under control unless you want to be burying them tomorrow. Shalom.